Welcome to Brains Behind the Business, brought to you by Accomplisher, the platform empowering experts everywhere. Each week, we go behind the scenes with coaches, consultants, and thought leaders to unpack some of the boldest moves and smartest strategies across industries. You'll also hear expert insights to support your own professional growth, whether you're building a business or leveling up your career. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Brains Behind the Business, brought to you by Accomplisher, the platform empowering experts everywhere and making it easier than ever to book sessions with coaches, consultants, and thought leaders. Today's episode is a deeply inspiring one. We are joined by Corissa St Laurent, a multidimensional mentor, keynote speaker, business advisor, and founder of the Everyday Mystic. Corissa has lived a life shaped by soul-led discovery, healing, and radical transformation. From her early childhood experiences as a Korean adoptee to her time working with global brands like Google, she is now on a mission to help others awaken their own divinity and lead with purpose. In this conversation, we talk about the power of integrating mysticism into business, what it really means to follow your inner calling, and how leaders can shift from hustle to wholeness. Whether you're a spiritual seeker and a purpose-driven entrepreneur, or just curious about what it means to live a more aligned life, you're going to walk away with some incredible insights. So, Corissa, I will kick it over to you. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your business and how exactly you got into demystifying mysticism and what exactly that means?
Sure. Hi, Courtney. Thanks so much for having me on.
No problem.
My work around mysticism is really a personal journey that has been integrated finally, I would say, into my work life. So I had early mystical experiences at the age of 16, 20 years old, at a time when I was a really messed up adolescent. I was suffering from a lot of trauma, or I would say the impacts of my early childhood trauma, and making a lot of bad decisions, really avoiding most of my issues and problems. But I had these mystical, spiritual openings that invited me into this mystery or into unraveling this mystery. So it wasn't necessarily something that I went out and sought, honestly. Both of those early mystical experiences were at times of, I would say, rock bottom moments, or at least times in my life when I think my human self had just had enough. I was hitting a point where things had just gotten so real and so bad that something had to crack, something had to happen. So the first experience led me into the journey, and then the second experience opened me up to really understanding what mysticism is. I still didn't have that word for it. I didn't know what it meant. I just experienced it. It was being in this full floating feeling of love, being embraced by light, being in God's love. And I don't mean God from a Christian sense, but the creator of all that is, this feeling of wholeness, allness, everything, what I call the energy of all that is, and being held in that. And it was the most beautiful, out-of-body, incredible experience I've ever had. And those two things led me on my life's path of trying to figure out what the heck it was. So it was really like, I don't know what this is. I didn't seek this, and now I'm going to go figure it out. And so that looked like a lot of exploration. I was still pursuing my own professional career. I didn't go full-blown mystic, hippie, spiritual guru or anything at the time. I was exploring things in little drips and drabs, and at the same time pursuing business, pursuing entrepreneurship, going down a very conventional path at the same time. So it took me a while to come back to a place where I am now, which is that it's all integrated. Everything that I experience as what I call an everyday mystic is what comes through me when I work with people. It's what I use in the creation of businesses. So as an entrepreneur, which is a creative endeavor, I'm working that muscle through, the spiritual lens. And it's how I approach life. It's the operating system of my life now. And so naturally, it's what I want to pass on to other entrepreneurs and to other creatives and people that are seeking to live and experience a different type of livelihood that has more meaning and higher purpose and more joy to it inherently, rather than, I get joy when I get my end of the year bonus.
Which, I mean, isn't a bad thing.
No, heck no.
Okay, so at Accomplisher, we really believe in the power of accessible and expert-led growth, right? Like, that's what we're all about in terms of creating this ecosystem and this platform where people can search for the expert that they're looking for, get those one-on-one meetings, and kind of figure out a way to find the right coach or the right, advisor or guidance for themselves that they need. So as somebody who guides others in visionary leadership and consciousness expansion, how do you help clients integrate spiritual wisdom into practical, everyday business decisions? And I imagine that there are some people who probably work with you who are looking for somebody like you. You guys are very much on the same wavelength. And there's probably other people who are kind of maybe a little bit more type A, straight-laced CEO types are probably I don't know about this spiritualism stuff, but I feel like a lot of people are willing to try anything because if they're looking for something that works, they're all right, let me think outside the box. Let me try the thing that doesn't seem like it's my type of thing because what I've been doing doesn't work. So, how do you help spiritual wisdom and everyday business decisions kind of merge into one practical experience?
As I was saying earlier, the integration happens from within in the way I work and in who I am, and it informs my decision making. It informs my creativity, my energy levels, the way that I show up, and the way that I approach relationships and communication. So that's the first place that the mysticism or the spirituality shows up. It's within me. And so there's no separation of how then does that infuse all the work I do. But then, of course, how does it go into and help the other person? If someone's seeking me as a mentor, then like you said, exactly, they're going to be somebody who is probably more open to wanting some spiritual guidance, wanting to expand in their consciousness. They have been some type of seeker in their life. They may be very much a traditional CEO or leader of some sort or professional, but they've probably had within them this seeker that has led them to exploring alternatives, whether that's biohacking techniques or breath work or retreats of some sort or yoga or spiritual texts. People like that who are open and seeking that information tend to find me because I'm part of the search.
Right.
They're going to be attracted to what I do and offer because they're already out there doing the seeking. The other hat I wear is as a business advisor. You mentioned, the other work I've done, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more as well. So as a business advisor, where I'm working with people who aren't seeking my spiritual guidance per se, I'm still operating from that place. So in a business meeting, a negotiation, a sensitive meeting where I'm potentially letting someone go, I've had a lot of fractional roles. And so I might be the person they turn to as the hired consultant, fractional consultant to make some of those harder decisions, or not just be the only person that makes the decisions, but to be the person that's going to be that change agent within the organization. And so whatever hard decision, whatever business decision is being made, I'm approaching it from that perspective. They may not know they're dealing with somebody who is operating or believes that they're operating from their soul rather than just their ego mind. But I think they feel it. And I've had that experience of working with, like you were saying, very type A, let's just call them non-spiritual types, but or people just not seeking that necessarily from me. And they'll say, working with you is different. They'll mention something that, oh, it's so easy to talk to you. There's some element of what I bring through this spiritual nature that they pick up on that's different than your typical business world negotiation, conversation, strategy, planning session, whatever it is. And they feel it. So it doesn't matter to me or to, I think, my clients to even know sometimes what's going on. But I bring it everywhere. And then I see openings sometimes. So I might be working with a company that's hired me as an advisor. But then there's a leader within that company who, through casual conversation, ooh, there's an opening there. There's an invitation to offer some more of what I do that might be separate from that contract in a way that I could support them. And that might be, you know, something that we talk about, you know, over coffee or breakfast that is something that they would invite. So I'm very transparent about who I am, what I do. If you look on either my website or the Everyday Mystic website, it's pretty much just me. You know, that there's no hiding, oh, I'm a spiritual person over here and then I'm a business person over here. I used to do that. I used to very much be super type A. I am that person that you were just talking about, of where I was in the spiritual closet, even though that was something I was exploring and dabbling in on my own. I didn't share that with anybody. Within corporate circles, none of that conversation happened. I'm drinking with, you know, the executives and going out and doing everything in that very type A way. And I got to a point in my own personal life where I hit my own wall with that too, and knew that's not my authentic self. So finally have reconciled that part of me as well, and the mysticism or this path of mysticism, being a soul-led person in general, has helped me ground, has helped me be a better consultant, advisor, mentor, leader. And I think it's better for everybody that I interact with now.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably pretty difficult to, I mean, to some extent, everybody who's in the corporate world or like just out and about in our everyday lives, we're all kind of putting on a little bit of a mask at times, you know, like you do what's appropriate in certain situations. But to have to do that all the time, day in and day out, with every interaction at work, and, you know, we all spend a lot of time at work, that's got to be exhausting to do. So it's probably the best decision for everyone, your clients, you, everyone you know, for you to be able to be like, we're going to just come at it all together as one
Because
whole
you know what
piece.
it does is that it allows other people in your presence to open up and be more authentic. It just naturally happens because we're mirrors for one another. So if I can reflect that to somebody and then they can relax a little bit and be more themselves, yay, we're all happy. Everyone's feeling looser without all the drinks. We can just do it more naturally. So that to me is something that, yeah, has come with the spiritual work. It's also just come with age and experience and, you know, making a lot of mistakes too at the same time.
We live and we learn.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some typical reasons that somebody may seek out your services? You know, is it folks who are kind of just feeling at a loss and they're like, something is missing and I'm not sure how to like fulfill that part of me? Is it folks who are, you know, specifically searching some specific goal? They're like, hey, I'm starting a business and I need to get on a certain path. Like, who is your kind of like typical client? I don't want to say like ideal client, but like, you know, what do you see the most of? Where's your sweet spot?
Yeah, the sweet spot is in that person that's searching for more meaning. They are typically at mid-career or later where they feel like they've done all the things that they thought they needed to do, were told they needed to do to achieve the things that were going to bring them the success that they then were told was going to make them happy. And yet they reach that pinnacle and go, what the hell? Right. I'm not any happier. I'm actually more miserable. Or this doesn't feel meaningful. This feels empty. Or I don't feel like I have any purpose beyond making money. What the heck is that all about? And so these are people that are seekers in that way. They're asking those questions because inside they have this feeling like there's got to be more to life than this. It can't just be the accumulation of stuff, by stuff I mean physical material objects, I mean titles, I mean degrees, I mean bank accounts and the accumulation of wealth. And I'm not saying accumulation in and of itself is a bad thing. It's just the sole pursuit of that as the only thing that will end up feeling empty. And it does for every single person that you talk to who has reached a certain level, but also has a certain level of consciousness. And that consciousness is awake and aware enough to go, this can't be all that there is, because I was told I was going to be happy with this, that I was going to feel lighter. I was going to feel, my problems would disappear and dissipate. But the hard truth is that none of those things external to us change any of that internal feeling.
Right.
So there's where we do the work. The work comes from exploring within to find that inner joy, meaning, happiness, purpose, so that they can then apply that in whatever they're doing. So that might be that they end up quitting their job or going off on and, moving to Tibet and leaving
the mountains of Mexico.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it may mean that for somebody, but it could very well mean that they just bring more joie de vivre to their workplace, that they're infused now with a personal purpose and a personal mission that they can then integrate with their company mission. When it's leadership, C-level leadership, it's even more exciting because they can then start to make changes within the culture and the organization from that top down. If we've got a few of the executives going, okay, now we're going to actually do what we're doing what we're setting out to do as a company, but now we can start to integrate personal missions here. Work as individuals and as a whole, where all of everybody's own personal mission is being met and felt and fed at this organization. And that's a pretty special place when, an exec team would choose to do that and take that on. That would be, a really exciting opportunity for me, as far as ideal clients go, to have, a leadership team that would want to do that at that level for the entire organization. But even if it's just one person and it doesn't get formally integrated into the company, just the shifts and the changes in that one person will ripple out into the organization, no matter what. Even if they don't say, oh, hey, I've been, seeing this mentor and we've been working on X, Y, and Z. And, even if they don't share a single thing that they're doing, they will be sharing it through their energy, through the way that they work, through the changes in their communication, through the joy, and through that sense of purpose and meaning that is my goal for people to have and achieve. Well, achieve's the wrong word. It's really, we all have that. It's just about getting back to it. We've put up a lot of barriers, and these aren't just our own fault, but society and growing up in a modern society, a modern culture, and a Western culture, and a culture that's very driven by material success, has set us up, for this, and has set us up to compete with one another. That's just the way it is. But when we start to shift and see that through collaboration, we can still meet our goals, we can still kick ass and do all the things that are necessary for both the company and the individual, but also be personally fulfilled. There's just nothing that can reach that level of success that you could do as, from a strategy or session or a strategy perspective. So it is deep work, but it's the most meaningful work that could happen for a person or an organization. And like I said, maybe that work means that they end up leaving an organization. They go out and start a nonprofit. They go out and start their own company. They go out and become a ceramicist because that's what they've always wanted to do, and they are amazing at it. Whatever the thing is, just by them following what their soul-driven purpose is and mission is and what brings them most joy is going to ripple out in the world and make the world a better place. Period. End. Stop. So that's why I love doing what I do. It doesn't have to be big, meaning I'm working with Google in that capacity. I used to work with Google, but not in this role. But again, it's in every single individual that I may work with or that may just even come across this kind of information. So it may not be someone who works with me directly, but if they choose to find a greater meaning beyond just, okay, I'm going to get promotions and get to this level in my career and make this amount of money and then build this kind of house. If they seek greater meaning, if they connect to a higher purpose, meaning it's something that feels bigger than just themselves, it's something that's divine. And if they truly do things that bring them joy, that is enough to change the world one person at a time. So if they can do that all on their own, go do it. If you want help and guidance and support in that, then come talk to me.
So that kind of brings me to my next question. So I think especially now in the current way the world is so interconnected with everyone's on social media. Everybody can see what everybody else is doing. There's never been more ability to see what the tippity top have in terms of keeping up with the Joneses and that type of thing. And then on the flip side, just the way things kind of are in everyone's day to day, where it's for myself, I was told, you go to college, you take out the loans if you've got to go to college, and you do that, and then you buy the house, and you have the 2 kids, and you get the dog, and people kind of are like, what am I doing? Why am I trying to keep up with, am I keeping up with the Kardashians? What's my goal? What's the end goal here? When do I get to say okay, I did it. I did it, and I get to enjoy. Because it used to be you work for however long and then you retire and you go, buy your little condo in Boca or whatever it is. And now it's kind of is that still what we're all doing? So I feel there's a lot of people, I'm in my late 30s, and a lot of people my age we're kind of having that epiphany of wait, what's the end goal? When do we get to stop and enjoy this hard work that we've put in? Because we went to college, we did the job, we bought the house, we have the kids, da-da-da-da-da. When do we get to not that I'm not, I'm happy doing what we do, but it's is there more? Am I missing a piece of it? I didn't think it was always going to be grind, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. And so what do you have, what advice do you have for somebody who is an entrepreneur or a business leader, or just a business worker? They're not a leader. They're just somebody who's I need something. They come to you and they feel torn between this conventional success of you tick off the boxes and you do everything your parents and your grandparents told you to do, and you've got your conventional success, versus that feeling of is this it? Did I do it yet? Am I done? So what advice, obviously without giving away your secrets and the secret sauce, but what is the, how do you work with somebody through that? How do you tell somebody, because some days I'm sure people wake up and they're I I just want to quit everything and go live on a beach somewhere and like forget it. Like just forget the job, forget the car, forget everything. But obviously that's not realistic for most of us.
Yeah, there's a story that you may have heard before, and it's a parable. I think it's very relevant to what you're asking. There's a Western, let's say American businessman who visits a Mexican fishing village. It's beautiful. There, it's so simple there, and yet just gorgeous. He's finally able to relax and just kind of loosen the tie and be himself and feel himself. And he's walking along the port shores, and he runs into a fisherman who's just whistling away and seems so happy. And this guy is pulling in his daily catch off of the boat onto the dock, and this businessman sees these beautiful, humongous fish that this guy has just caught. And he says to him, "Did you just catch those today?" And this Mexican fisherman says, "Oh yeah, every day I go out, I catch this for my family, and then whatever's left over I give to my extended family, and then whatever's left over from that I give to my village." He's like, "Wow, this is beautiful. That seems so much. You could catch so much more." "Well, this is all I need. That's all. I'm happy on my boat. I'm in the sun all day. I do whatever I want. I make my own hours." But the businessman, it's like he metaphorically tightens the tie as he's talking to the fisherman. Is that his wheels start turning? "Oh, well, if you brought in a few more fish, you could sell them, and then you could buy your bigger boat. And then once you buy that bigger boat, you can go out and send out a fleet of these boats and catch tons of fish. And then you'd have enough money for a cannery." And the Mexican fisherman says, "Well, then what?" "Well, then you get the cannery and you're able to sell to all over the world. And then what?" "Well, then you're able to bring in, much more money than you're bringing in now." "Well, then what?" "Well, then you're able to finally give more, money to your family and to your community. And then what?" "Well, then you get to retire and live on your boat and enjoy the sun and fish whenever you want to." And as he's saying it, he's realizing exactly the words that are coming out of his mouth. The fisherman just kind of gives him a wry smile and says, "Okay, man, have a nice day, and we'll see you later." So yeah, you're right. Not everybody can go quit their job and go live on a beach necessarily. But how can we live in more joy every day? How can we actually approach our life from a place where we understand who we are internally, and we are internally driven? You mentioned earlier, I did what my parents told me, what society told me, what the schools told me. Hey, you got to do this and that, and what the banks tell you, whoever. Eventually, we get to a place where that outer voice is so strong we can't even hear ourselves. Maybe you've never even heard yourself, but I know that's not true. We all have heard our inner voice at some point. And so what I would first tell anybody to do is to just tune in to their inner voice, which is essentially their intuition. Some people hear it as an actual voice. Some people will just get a feeling about something. Some people their intuition works through signs from outside. It's like this person that they just met said something to them that was like the answer that they needed. Or they're browsing in the bookstore and they see this book that's exactly answering the question that's been, spinning around in their mind. The entire universe, this energy of all that is here to support us. When we open ourselves up to that by tuning into our inner compass, our inner knowing and then work from there out, those decisions don't become, is this the right thing? When is this going to end? I don't know. There's no question anymore. You have a guidance now that is truth. That's the best way I can describe it. It feels like truth. It feels like I don't have to question this. I know this. Right. Getting to that place of where you trust it enough to go, ooh, that's truth. I know this so much. That takes some time. So all of this takes some time and some practice. And so the first step would be tune in, listen within, try to block out external influences, noises, advice, even advice from me. My advice is to go within and find your own guidance. That's what I would tell every single one of my clients. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to give you the answers. I'm here to help you tune into your own answers so that you become your own mentor, your own guide, your own coach, your own leader in this life. That's where we truly find our peace, happiness, joy, all the things that everybody's seeking through their careers and through their accomplishments and through the things that, again, nothing wrong with those things and those pursuits, but we make them a part of our life, not the grand pursuit of our life. The grand pursuit is in knowing ourselves and our connection to source. That's living a mystical life. So approaching business, life, relationships, your relationships with your kids, your husband, your colleagues, approaching finances, approaching every single thing, your health, all of it, just through this operating system is what makes it different. But it's still the same kinds of things that we all want. You know, it's not that I want to go and just live in a cave and sequester myself from everybody and just commune with God. No, I don't want that. I want to hang out with you and talk with you and go swim in the pool with my son and go play ultimate frisbee and hang out and do beautiful walks in the city. I want to do all those things, but doing it from a place where just in the being there's joy. I don't need to go and know that this, whatever it is, the promotion that I'm seeking or the next level of the next kid that I want to have or the new dog or the new boat or any of those things, just remembering rather than forgetting. It's really about remembering that none of those things are here to bring us happiness. They're just here to augment the happiness that we already should have or do have when we allow ourselves to have it.
I love that. I feel like I'm having like a moment right now. I'm like, okay, gotta go book my one-on-one.
Amazing.
I'm going to go out there and tell my husband, I'm going to be like, all right, listen, we've got a new goal. We're going to speak with Corissa. She won't let me quit my job and live on the beach, but maybe we'll find a way to make every day feel like I'm living on the beach. So speaking of booking my call on the platform, you are a part of the Accomplisher platform. So we have our book now one-on-one options available for people. We have fireside chats where you can host like your one-to-many, like kind of like a webinar situation. And you are able to offer mentorship and guidance to those who are seeking transformation. What kind of conversations are you most excited to have with the people who book with you? Is there like a specific,
people? Yeah. I mean, conversations with my old self, honestly, because, and I think that's what pretty much any coach, teacher, healer, guide, mentor would probably tell you is that they're working with the different versions of themselves. And that's when the work becomes so powerful. I've lived these certain experiences, this certain amount of whether it was that I was adopted or that I was raised in New England and in the U.S. or that I was I've been in the corporate world, I've been an entrepreneur, I've been a healer. I've lived these certain experiences. I've, suffered from alcoholism, and, having a certain set of experiences will create a certain rapport, right? But then outside of just interests, experiences, and the things that might align us in that way, it is being able to see these old or past versions of you and going, oh, sister, brother, I know exactly where you are. I know where you are because I've been there. Now I'm going to tell you what I did to get to where I am. I'm going to provide a certain roadmap, but just like any map, that doesn't confine you to one road. The map is ways and means to kind of see the whole picture. You can see all the pathways to the mountain. You can see all of the roads that lead to the promised land. So you get to see all of that and decide how you're going to traverse it. That's all your choice. That's all your lived experience. That's all the client's personal steps that they take. And it's important that they take those, that I don't tell them you're going to take step 1 and now you're going to take step 2 and step 3 is next. It's showing them the bigger picture and then being there to shine the light and say, I can relate. I've been there. This is what I did. You can take that or leave that. You can take that and change it and do something totally different than what I did and see what happens. This whole life that we're living here is a grand experiment. And if you start to live your life like it is an experiment and not be afraid to actually experiment rather than just do the safe and tried and true thing that I'm going to get this result. And this result is going to burn me out and make me feel busy and is going to get me this specific set of ABC goals. If you move your life experience outside of those very confined lanes, then you're experimenting and opening yourself up to serendipity. What then can happen? And you're asking the universe to show you this. What can happen outside of the confinement that I've been in, that I've both been conditioned into, but also kept myself in? That's the beauty of adulting, is that we get to choose to say, I'm not going to be in this rut anymore. I'm not going to just follow this lane. Maybe I still want to get to the same end destination, but I'm going to take this really circuitous path, this path that goes around this beautiful lake and then down through a meadow and through this magical forest to then get to that same spot. And in that journey, I'm learning so much more about myself and about life and connecting to more people, doing other things outside of just the singular goal that also bring joy and interest and intrigue into my life. And those are all just choices. They're all choices that we all get to make at any moment because we have free will here. So that's who I like to talk to, is those, one, who I consider see this old version of myself. 2, those are open to experimenting, open to making some shifts, because nothing's going to change if you change nothing. So if you're going to work with me, let's not waste any time. If you're going to be paying for and taking the time out of your busy schedule to work with any mentor or coach, then you better be really willing to do some work. And that work is going to be getting honest with yourself and honest with your life and starting to examine it. And then with me specifically, go deep and go into those inner sanctum places that you may not have explored before.
I love that. I definitely feel like it's such an opportunity if somebody's working with you to, like you said, kind of like get to the same result, but like take a more beautiful path there. Like find the little bits of joy in everything to help you get out of that rut and stop feeling like it's just like, oh, grind, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. It's like, well, wait, look at all the beautiful things you get to do along the way and appreciate them. So I am hopeful that you are going to have 1 million calls booked on the Accomplisher platform, because I think that people can get so much out of working with you, whether they are a skeptic or a believer in the mysticism. I feel like, again, I feel like I've had an awakening a little bit through our very short call.
I'm so glad to hear that.
All right, so I am going to drop all of your information into our show notes. So for our listeners, they will be able to find your Accomplisher profile there. I'll also put your web address there, and they will be able to do book nows. You have all your book nows set up, so they'll be able to schedule a book now if they would like to meet with you. Is there anything else you would like to leave us with? Any words of wisdom or anything?
To take baby steps. You may have heard the old adage. This is another old spiritual saying that really puts things into perspective. And it's a question, really. How do you eat an elephant? Do you know?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time, exactly. So all of this is just one bite at a time. It's one step at a time. It isn't going from A to Z all at once. Those that are cuckoo like that and want to do A to Z typically are dealt some harsh realities in this lifetime. And the A to Z people might get there because they have a severe accident, or they get a disease diagnosis, or they get fired from their job that they thought they were going to be at forever. Their spouse divorces them. You don't want A to Z. A to Z is, I mean, maybe you do want it. I don't want to tell you, listener, what you want, but for those of you who go, oh my God, that sounds horrible, you don't want that. That is a really harsh entry into facing the truth of who you are. But some people, that's what they asked for in this lifetime, what they came here to experience. So if you want a softer entry, if you want a slightly easier path, then it is taking these baby steps that will then lead you to the next step. And you can, the way I envision it for clients is that imagine that you are looking out at this beautiful stream, and on the other side is everything that you want. But you've got this water in front of you, and you're not exactly sure how to cross this stream. It looks a little bit rough, but you see this single beautiful and steady stone that you can step on. And that's getting you one step closer to that everything you want side of the stream. Don't worry about the next step. That's living life in trust of the universe. I know it sounds scary. I know it sounds impractical. I know, and I know it sounds like a little crazy to some people, but that's truly what this life is like and how I would guide people. And there are countless millions of people that have walked this kind of walk, have been extremely, not just extremely successful and happy, but more blissful and joyful and successful than they ever thought they would be in life. And so it has a lot to do with that trust. So trust your inner voice. Trust whatever feels like is your next step, whether it's booking the Accomplisher session with me, or checking out other coaches and mentors on the Accomplisher platform, or going and picking up a book. Listen to that inner voice and go do that thing.
All right, everybody, you heard it here first. One step at a time. Trust your inner voice and book your Accomplisher sessions. All right, well, thank you so much, Corissa. It was great speaking with you. And we will catch you guys all back here next week.